What's going on, guys? Big Mike, the 717 Outlaw. We're back with another video. We're actually in preparation for going to Cecil County tomorrow with the Busa, but I figured why not bring a good piece of garage tech to you guys. That honestly to me has been awesome to have in the garage over the last couple weeks that I've had it, and some of you may have seen it on Instagram a little bit. But anyway, piece of garage tech that is pretty awesome. I did manage to find it a really good deal on it, new, from somebody that had actually bought it but just never put it together. It was still in the crate when I got it. But anyway, what we're going to be looking at is a new bike lift. Alright guys, now like I said, this is a Harbor Freight Pittsburgh platform lift. Now what this does that's really nice is you pull the bike up on the ramp on the back, and it brings, once you elevate it, it brings this table height to a nice 30 inches, which, as you can see, pretty good height compared to the bike. So for me, it brings everything kind of, like, everything's at my head height, so it works pretty good for me. But there are some good parts about this, and there are some bad parts about this. I know some people are going to be like, well, it's a Harbor Freight brand, so it's going to be bad. But to be honest, there's a lot more pros that outweigh the cons. And the cons are kind of personal preference or things that are kind of like no-brainers that, yeah, that's going to be something. So we're going to start with the cons. Now, the one thing, as I'm sure most of you have seen, is this really odd wheel chock. Now, the wheel chock on this I don't quite like. Well, I don't like it at all because the boost is not on it because of that. Is you pull the bike up, front tire hits this, and then you pinch the tire. Not that good, because if the bike shifts at all with the ratchets or however you tie it down, it's gonna mess up your rim. It could bend a front rotor. It could mess up a lot of things without you really even thinking about it. But now that's one con. Now the only other thing, to be honest, to me that's a con, but that's just platform lifts in general. Look how big it is. I mean, the Busa is a big bike, and I mean, size difference, it's pretty big. So the big thing is, if you don't have a very large garage, this does take up a lot of space. The other thing too, for being a one-man crew, this took two of us to get it off my truck and in here. This thing weighs over 300 pounds in the crate. So it's got some weight to it. But now, to be honest, that's kind of it with the cons. I mean, unless you would count the foot control for the hydraulic, I guess it's a con because it's a manual foot control. But to be honest, to me it's a pro and a con because there's no electronic jack, so that's just less stuff to go wrong. I mean, the only thing that can go wrong is the linkage might come apart, but easy enough to put back together with a nut and bolt. So that's one kind of pro con, but the pro on it, it's really nice diamond plate steel. This stuff is pretty thick. I mean, I've jumped on this thing. I've actually used it to change a light bulb because I can stand on this and I'm high enough. So it works great for odd and end stuff. The other thing too that's pretty cool about it, that's a nice safety feature, is people say like, well, if you put the bike on it, the hydraulic sooner or later is going to start to fade with temperatures and just constant pressure. They give you this big beefy bar. Now what this does, if you pull the jack off, you run this through, and then what you do is you hit the release, and now everything is resting. This is kind of your safety, so if it does happen to shift down, it's only going to land on this and then it can't go any further. But that's one good pro, has a nice safety system. The other part of it too though is just, this thing's pretty heavily built. Like, going with the weight of it being 300 pounds, I mean, this thing's not gonna go anywhere. I mean, these supports are like 1/8 to 1/4 inch thick, maybe 3/16, something like that. But they're pretty heavy steel on this entire construction. Now the other part that's pretty cool, let me go ahead and jack this up. So if any of you can see, there's kind of like a little hatch looking section right there. So what that does, let me, again, manual jacks, gotta love them. Pull this out. Now Now if we drop this all the way to the floor, which might take a second with no weight, push it down a little bit.
2 hours later.
Okay, so now that it's on the ground, now if you ever have issues with the hydraulics, if it's in this position, it won't go up or anything. There you go. You can somewhat access your jack and access the joints down here for the foot controls and things like that, and it's kind of nice. But yeah, just throw that hatch back over, pull the bike up on, and to be honest, that's about it. And then the other part that goes with it is there's a ramp. Ramp adds like another 2 feet to this, 2.5 feet. But these things aren't bad. For the money, they're worth it. I spent $250 on it. But I got it from somebody that had bought it brand new a couple years ago, but just never put it together, or never finished putting it together, or actually took it out of the crate. It was still in the crate when I picked it up from them, but you can get these at Harbor Freight for around $400 or $500. And to me, they're the best bang for your buck, because if you get any other lift that's relatively close to this, you're probably going to pay almost double. I mean, they get crazy expensive. Granted, most of them then jump up to like a UTV or side-by-side lift, which has removable sides. You can make it wider, you can make it skinnier, and it lifts a lot more weight. They lift like a little over a ton. But to be honest, best bang for your buck motorcycle lift that you can get. And to me, the platform lifts are so much nicer because it's, what I want to say, it's a bit more secure of a lift. There's a lot of other lifts that go underneath it. You just roll it underneath the bike and it picks it up, whether it's sitting on the frame, sitting on the exhaust, something, but it lifts it from the bottom. I don't really like that because it's just, to me, it can fall over, or it puts pressure points on things that aren't supposed to be picked up that way. So for me, just rolling it up and it sits on the wheels and tires, that's all I need. But the other part that's nice is this is wide enough that I can use my bike stands if I really have to, and pick the rear end up to get the tire off the ground if I have to pull my rear wheel or pull my front wheel. You can do that with this. The platform lifts are big enough that most wheel or bike stands will lift the tire up if you need it. But I mean, to be honest, those are my pros and cons. I mean, this thing was probably my best bang for my buck that I could have got on the Facebook Marketplace deal that I got. But as always, most things from Harbor Freight can use a little bit of upgrading. So if you guys stick around for part 2, we're going to go into installing a new wheel chock, so that way the bike's a little bit more secure. And we're actually going, almost dropped you guys, getting rid of these D-rings, and we're going to be putting retractable ratchet straps, so that way it's a little bit cleaner, keeps things a little bit neater than having a freaking pile of ratchet straps laying around. But yeah, hopefully you guys stick around for part 2, and we're going to go into some upgrades. Probably going to film that same thing tonight because I just want to get this done, and it's honestly hot in this garage. I don't have a fan out here yet, but yeah. Hope you guys liked the video. If you do, give it a thumbs up. If you want to know anything more about the bike lift, or just maybe something I didn't say, drop those comments down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And as always, hit that subscribe button, hit that little notification bell, and I'll catch you guys on the next upload. Since the bike's kind of in this and we're going to be going to the track tomorrow, ride safe, ride smart, always wear a helmet. See ya.